Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a review of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And indeed, I'm not just going to do the first book, I'm going to do the other four. But I will mainly be talking about the first one, because talking about the others might give things away, obviously. So mainly the first. The Hitchhiker's Guides are written by Douglas Adams, who is an Englishman who died just over 10 years ago, was it now, I believe? Sadly. And he's a man with a very unique sense of humour and a very unusual writing style. The books themselves are science fiction and comedy. The type of comedy that Douglas wrote about was essentially, think of Monty Python, quite simply, because the humour is kind of that kind of mad, insane humour. And indeed, the copies that I have, the first book has a foreword. You probably can't see this, I'm not sure if you can, probably can't, by Russell T Davies, who was the front runner for, as you may know, Doctor Who, specifically Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant episodes. And he was inspired by Hitchhikers. I mean, it's a known fact, he always has been. And indeed, certain things in the newer Doctor Who's, for instance, in Doctor Who, there's a reference to the Horsehead Nebula. Yeah, that's directly from this. You know, it's a sort of a tribute to the Hitchhikers, which I actually never quite realised until I read this. The second book, which is called The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, has a foreword by Terry Jones, who, if you don't know, is one of the Pythons. He knew Douglas Adams, and indeed all the Pythons did, and they did actually work together and discuss ideas. And actually Douglas Adams wrote an episode for Doctor Who years ago, and several of the things in the later books, the couple of things that were in the books that were actually meant for Doctor Who, but never ended up in Doctor Who. So instead he included them in the Hitchhiker's books. So if you like Doctor Who, you will probably like these, which obviously I do like both. Yes, almost forgot to say, the books comprise of, obviously, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Then it is The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. Then it's Life, the Universe and Everything, which is the ultimate question. The fourth book is So Long and Thanks for the Fish, which is something that the dolphins say in thanks to humans, as you do. And the fifth book is Mostly Harmless, which is the definition of Earth. Now, all the Hitchhiker's books are not about plot line or story, and indeed they're not even about character development to any great degree. They are more about ideas. I mean, just phenomenal, truly fantastical ideas. I mean, that is what they are about, and indeed that's why the books work. The plot is, I mean, the plot's okay, but it's nothing, well, it is extraordinary because, for reasons that I hope you'll find out, because I hope you'll read the books, but it's not anything truly unusual though in some ways, and instead it's not that developed. The characters, likewise, are not as developed as what some books would be, and indeed most books generally have, especially when there's 5 of them, you expect the characters to be rather more developed. And to be honest, they're not really. I mean, they've got a certain amount of development, but not to that level. But the thing that is developed is the ideas. The ideas in it are astonishing and truly mad. And as I said, you can tell that there is a certain sort of Python feeling about them. The ideas are extraordinary and really remarkable. And indeed, when you read the books, I think, which is why I've read them, the amount of time you'll read the books and you think, hang on, that film or that other book has used a certain idea from these books. I mean, I knew that had happened, because I knew that the Hitchhikers were really influential, but I actually never realised just how influential they were. The amount of references that other films, books, even music reference from these is astonishing. I mean, there must be a couple of dozen ideas per book that are used by other people, and indeed are used as a sort of tribute in a lot of ways, which is really nice to see and read about, of course. Plotline revolves around Arthur Dent, who is an Englishman, a traditional Englishman, of course, with tea and cricket and such. And basically wakes up one day, there is a bulldozer outside his house and they want to knock his house down. But before he knows it, instead of his house just being knocked down, he meets up with his friend called Ford Prefect, and essentially the world gets demolished because they are trying to make a intergalactic bypass. Essentially, think of a motorway bypass, but on a rather larger scale, kind of galaxy scale, to be precise. All the books span from that point. The first book is he's trying to find out what's happening, and indeed trying not to get killed. The second book, he goes to the restaurant at the end of the universe, which doesn't take you as long as you think, actually. Quite quick to get there. And the food's definitely interesting, and all I'm saying is you'd be glad that you're a vegetarian if you went to the restaurant at the end of the universe, because the food can be off-putting in a very unique way. And essentially the books just continue from one adventure to another. Now, I loved the first book, The Hitchhiker's Guide itself, and indeed on Goodreads I gave this 5 stars, which it well deserves. But after this it goes down half a star basically per book. So the second one is 4.5, the third is 4, the fourth is 3.5, and the fifth book, which actually oddly enough is slightly thicker than the others, would be 3 stars. It's not that this book is bad, but the first book is truly astonishing, and the ideas in it are original, and just the whole idea of the book, the way the book is written, is more original. The fifth, it's starting to feel a bit too familiar, and the ideas aren't quite as mad either. So it doesn't quite work, which is a shame. But when you still got the first and indeed second, the first 2 are amazing. I love these 2 in particular. The next 3 are still good, but not really quite the same. But there we are. So overall, the books are amazing. The earlier books are better than the later books, although they are still good. But the earlier books do have pure originality on their side, and indeed they have references to other current media like Doctor Who and Monty Python. Of course, there is heavy reference to that. All the Monty Pythons knew him, so if you like Monty Python, or indeed are a fan of Doctor Who, then you should read these books, because there's a lot of references in them that you will think, that's why they include that in the episode. So that's it for my review. I hope you've enjoyed it. Oh, and before I forget, I do know where my towel is. I have a towel. Yeah, now I know it sounds odd having a towel with me in a review, and indeed the thumbnail was me holding a towel with my thumb out. But if you read the book, you'll understand why towels are very important in The Hitchhikers. Indeed, there is a National Towel Day that is held every year it's actually not that far off. I believe I think it's April, where fans of Hitchhikers are encouraged to carry a towel with them all day for one day. It's at the end of April, I think. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching. I will see you another day. Bye for now.